Welcome back to the Starketer, episode 8. Now this week's instalment, we're picking up where we left off in episode 7 by continuing our mini-series in which I'm taking a bit of a deeper dive into how I am using content marketing in my own role. So in last week's episode, we spoke about how I've used the blog as a great way for us to build up brand trustworthiness and authority, whilst also supplementing our organic rankings. Now this week we're going to shift gears slightly and begin to look at our second content channel, which is LinkedIn. Now, as we all know, LinkedIn is a phenomenal tool and its scope is huge, so I'm sure we're going to be revisiting it down the line in future episodes. But for this installment alone, we're looking at it from the perspective of organic content creation. Now, what I'm about to share is relevant for both company pages and also personal profiles, because at the end of the day, on social, your people are one of your best marketing assets. So we also need to think about how we leverage them as part of a larger company strategy. But really, the reason that we've chosen LinkedIn and why I think it's arguably more important than the blog is that it so often acts as a gateway to the brand. So think of it almost as like a social tease, if you like. We need to use our LinkedIn channels or our social channels to really open the door for engagement with our target market and give them a reason to believe that we're worth engaging with. Thinking back to a previous key lesson that we've had from David Hyatt, it was all around who do we want to take the call from? Well, before we can even think about getting people on site, unless you've already got loads of organic traffic, which is fantastic, we need to come at this from a perspective that LinkedIn, or whatever social channel it is for your brand, wherever your audience lives basically, is going to be the first impression they get of us as an organization. And as such, we need to produce that really high quality content that is worthy of engagement to then warrant the bigger asks down the line, whether they're click through to the website or even a conversion. So our content on LinkedIn has been really important because it's given us a solid foundation to build that trust and prove that we know what we're talking about. Now, one last little bit on LinkedIn is that it has a great potential reach. So rather than spending a fortune for paid advertising spots or full pages in magazines, what we can do is actually leverage those free accounts to pose questions that gain traction or discuss issues that are highly relevant, to then see that growth through engagement. Because as we all know, the more people comment, like and share, the more the content gets seen. So organically, there is so much potential to LinkedIn. And as that's where our audience lives, that's why we've really focused on it, to help build a foundation to then go onto the blog and all the other content that we're looking at creating. Now moving on, this week's key lesson actually came from another webinar. You might be sensing a theme here. But this week, the key thing for me and the key question was posed about how do we as marketers constantly evolve? And the host asked this question, and the response I thought was really interesting, and it was all about how as marketers we should always be asking ourselves questions, because only then can we look to reflect and improve. Now, something that I've spoken about before is all on how it can be so easy to get distracted and have so many things to go at, especially in the early days of the function. Well, as long as it's done in a healthy way, questioning what you're doing and discussing the current approach is vital, because you can guarantee that your competitors are going to be doing it. And so if you're not posing questions internally on how you can improve the marketing, you're going to get left behind. So I think that really resonated as a key learning, because it really emphasizes the importance of constantly asking questions and constantly being interested and engaged to see how we can possibly improve on what we're creating. Now, the last part of the puzzle for this week's episode is our inspiration. And this week it actually comes from Bulb Energy. So they're a green energy firm, and I've been a customer of theirs for a year now. Well, to mark the occasion, they sent me an email to tell me about all of the positive impact I've had on the globe and on the climate crisis by using a renewable energy firm such as theirs. Now, I thought that was really cool and really inspiring because so often I'm quite guilty of just thinking of top of the funnel marketing and how we create those new client wins rather than marketing as part of client retention. Now, I don't really remember who our energy is with all the time. It's not perhaps the most exciting topic, but by being reminded of the impact that I'm having for positive change by being a customer of theirs is a really great way for them to inspire brand loyalty in me and mean that when it comes down to renewal, I'm going to be reminded that actually I've done a great job by being with these guys. And so that's why I found that particularly inspiring, to think that marketing doesn't finish at the sale, it doesn't even finish at the lead stage. We should always be marketing to our clients and customers because it's so hard to win them in the first place. We should really do everything we can to retain them. So that's it for episode 8. Next week we're going to be rounding off our mini-series on content. I hope you can join me then. Thanks very much for watching.